What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It is the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We are your hosts, platinum producers, Arkatech Beatz. I am Juggernaut.
I am Mike Trauma D.
And together we make the super duper group, Arkatech Beatz. If you have never been here before, please make sure that you're like, commenting, and subscribing. And every week we get together to talk about the music business, how you can navigate it, and how you can beat this system as an independent artist, musician, and producer. And today we want to get into a few things. Maybe like the biggest elephant in the room. This week, there's been news coming out from Universal Music Group saying that they're going to be doing a cost-saving redesign, which basically means layoffs.
Yeah.
Basically, they're looking to save to the tune of $270 million a year.
Damn.
And this is coming. The news is coming really off of like last year was record numbers in terms of streaming, ASCAP earnings. And we just don't seem to understand what's going on with this redesign, but we think it has something to do with the recent TikTok issue. But we're going to get into it. So, Mike.
Yeah.
The articles came out. We started sending them back and forth to each other. We were like, what does this look like?
Yeah.
Have we seen this before? How are people going to navigate this thing? And really, what do you think is really the real reason behind this redesign, and what do you think is going to happen with it?
I think partially they're probably bracing for the impact of TikTok removing the music off of their platforms. So, because now they're including publishers as well. So it's not just songs, if you have anything to do with them, you're out of here. So that's a pretty big hit, So I think, that they're bracing for that. That's one. And I think there's some other things that may be going on behind the scenes that we're not really hip to as of yet that could be going on. I read something that they said possibly 40% of staff. Like, I'm hearing a lot of different things. So
to lose 40% of your staff?
Yeah. I've read something, and there was a lot of things here and there that were just sounding like really crazy. Another mention was that with AI growing, that's one of the reasons why they're looking to cut staff. They want to start implementing AI in a lot of these things. And Chuck, we spoke about this before, that once AI starts really getting good, and people start to really understand how to use it and how to utilize it, jobs are going to be lost.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be part of it. And I think there's some other things going on. But it's still a little early to tell, so we just kind of gotta watch and see. And for those that's losing their jobs, man, my heart goes out to you. I know you guys. It's a rough time. It's a rough time to lose your gig. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like there's a good time to lose it, but this economy is so crazy. I just hope you have your side hustles down. You have something going on the side.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at this, and I just don't see any answers in it. I just see it being just the layoffs is about to hit, and I don't know how people are going to really be able to bounce back from this. It's not like there's another label situation that's going to be able to absorb any of this. But I think we've been saying this for a while, that the AI was coming. We said that the AI, a lot of these jobs were going to be absorbed by AI.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something a little bit more behind it all, because I think we were always talking about automation and artificial influence, and being able to press the proverbial button to make an artist go from one trajectory to another.
Right.
So I'm wondering if folks have something going on in the background and say, hey, we know how to. We're breaking artists now, not through TikTok because they're not on it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not going to break artists through TikTok, and we're going to be breaking artists through Spotify or Apple Music, so forth and so on, like, we won't need a great number of staff people to break music, because they're not on the number one app to break music now anyway. So I think when you start to look at it, from a like, what do we really need in 2024? And then also, I think the poor performance of hip hop last year also probably made made this decision a little easier too. You know, do we need all of this promotion and marketing? Do we need these type of teams all over the place doing this, doing that? And not saying those are the departments that are going, but you know, that's the only thing that seems to make sense to me.
I mean, what's interesting is if they could push the button and make anyone popular, you would figure that they'll just move forward and signing whatever and just keep pushing the button.
Yeah.
You know, we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see that if the removal of all of this staff, if the hits stop coming, you know, if the big records stop coming, you know, so we got to just wait and see what happens and see if they still have something going on in the background where, hey, we don't need all this staff because we kind of mastered this situation over here. We got the bots running in the background. We're partners with the DSPs. You know, we got all of these things going on. So all we got to do is just grab any person that has a decent following amount and get them in front and push the button.
Do you think like when we look at the Grammys and we look at who was winning and so all of these things,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that they looked at that as a trend in music and says, okay, it looks like the music trend is going to go back to more of the legacy artists, which we already kind of have in tow, which we already have established audiences for, and that we won't need to do certain things for those artists because they're legacy artists. And that's going to be the music that's going to be pushed to the forefront, more catalog driven artists.
Because they have already built in fan base.
Yep. And I think that they're looking at it like, yeah, and they're looking at it like, okay, we don't really need to do all of this new artist searching and all of that because clearly they haven't been successful. Or I think we talked about it last year about people not knowing what it takes to even break an artist anymore. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if this redesign is them just giving up on that and just saying, you know, why don't we just double and triple down on what we already got and, you know, make these things turn to profit because they can do it. And instead of us trying to scramble and waste money trying to create a formula to break artists that we can't seem to figure out.
Well, why not do both? You know, why not, you know, you have your legacy artists that they have a built-in fan base and they could pretty much do almost anything. You know, you at the end of the year, you know how much they're going to generate, you know, and so that's one aspect. But as far as with new artists, you know, again, if you have the system rigged, you should be able to control it to some extent. You know, it doesn't even matter what the content is, you know, shocking, however you want to view it. You know, as long as you behind the scenes, you got all your bots or you have all your things going on in the background. It's like, you know, they control it. You know, they have the money. You know, they could do pretty much whatever they need to do to make an artist blow.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's just one of those things we kind of gotta like sit back and watch and see what the next play is. You know, why is this happening? You know, is there a move to sell the company? You know, is there anything else going on that you know talks behind the background? You know, you see a lot of people either leaving. You see people are switching as far as roles. I'm gonna say it like this, Jug. Towards the end of every year, and this is not news. Towards the end of the year, there's always company layoffs or company restructuring. Yeah. When you start getting around the October, the last quarter, you know, you could go and you could see, okay, this person is leaving, this person is gone, this person is moving from here to here. You know, it happens. It's been happening for years, like to the point where I used to receive an email of the restructuring that happens every year. You know, that time again, this person left this company and went to that company. The head of this company went from this company to that, and it just continues to rotate. But the funny thing is, there's only so many companies you could continue doing this with.
Yeah.
You know, I remember one time we had the big six. You know, and then you could move from six to five. You could move from four. You could move all over the place, and then move to the subsidiaries. But now there's not that. There's no more big six. You know, the industry has gotten a whole lot smaller, so the jobs are few. And if you're a person in that position where your job is on the line, you have to really make sure your side hustle is on point. And I think that's another reason why a lot of those A&Rs and a lot of those guys were getting involved in outside things like, you know, um, showcases where you have to pay, or these view your music and you got to pay, and you're like, but you're the A&R, why do I have to pay? They trying to make sure that their bag is good because they could lose their job any day. It's not secure at all.
Crazy, man. When you say it like that, like, it's absolutely crazy. So now we
Yeah.
basically got to wait to see what's going to happen with this. When we were at Loud Records and it went through something similar where it got absorbed by Columbia
Mm-hmm.
and or Sony,
Mm-hmm.
and it went through a first level of restructuring when it got absorbed, and then it went through a secondary one when it finally got kind of pulled all the way in,
Right.
and then the layoffs occurred.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is there any advice that we can give to those folks who may be in the industry that may be getting ready to feel a layoff, and how can they, prepare themselves for the loss of it in this climate, and then also what can we give them to kind of make sure that they can find ways to bounce back?
Well, the first thing always, the number one thing in this business all around the board is network. If you've been networking, you probably already got a heads up early that this was coming down, so you were
Yeah.
able to position yourself. Probably reach out to a couple of contacts and see if there's any openings or situations in other parts of the company or another label. You know, when these things happen, you just got to get on your grind. And hopefully, for the most, just like in any position, hopefully you've been on your grind. So when these things happen, you can bounce back. You have something else going on. You have your own production company, your own other deal outside of here. You got something else going on so that you don't have to fully rely on what you're about to lose. You know what I'm saying? So it really comes down to, and to be honest with you, Jug, it doesn't even matter what job you're in, what field. You should always have a side hustle, period. You should always have a secondary piece of income, no matter what.
Yeah, I agree with that. I always feel like you should be leveraging your day job into something that you can uh, call your own on your
Right.
own time. And you should be expanding your network, expanding your experience, and really leveraging your know-how in an age of information. This is the age of where people are looking for information or willing to pay for information. And I think if you're in this business and you're good at what you do, you really shouldn't have too hard of a time setting up shop to kind of get something going. I understand some people don't really have that business savvy, and if that's the case, you need to partner with somebody that does,
Hmm.
and kind of create some sort of coalition where you can offer your services or expertise to other independent labels or independent artists, because there's a bunch of folks that do need some competent people who have true experience to help them move and navigate their careers forward. So I think that's like a really good takeaway, and just trying to make sure that you're prepared for it.
Right.
So as we start to pivot, man, um, something happened on the. I saw a clip on the Joe Button podcast
Hmm.
where he says that you know that the wave of female hip hop artists is essentially over,
Huh.
and when he said it, and he gave his reasoning for it. He said that basically he said the cream will rise to the top, meaning the artists who have true talent in the female rap hip hop space. He just fell off real quick.
Hey, I don't even know what happened, but I'm
Yeah.
still. Mhm.
But they were saying that the ladies in the female hip hop space
Mhm.
that are really good are basically going to be around, and the ones that are not going to be around, and you're not going to be able to. What he said, send them to Columbia, get the female rapper startup kit as far as surgery and BBL. And then put them in the studio with a given producer, and then push it out to the mass. He said those days as far as mass producing female hip-hop talent is over. And
it's messed up.
I agree with him, and I know I'm going to get some flack for that, but I agree with him. And I think it's been over for some time. I think the numbers reflect that. I think the lack of number ones reflect that. And but for somebody to verbalize it like that, that's a whole other story.
I think the problem with that situation and why it's come to that is because when you have this opening, where it seemed like the fellas kind of stood back or whatever they was going through, I guess, with all of the lawsuits and the
Legal
feds,
charges, yeah.
legal
The fellas
charges,
are going through it right now.
and rappers were getting killed, and so a lot of male artists kind of took a step back, and it created an opening for the women to come in here and do their thing. And what they were supposed to do was come in all kinds, like all types of
Female artistry.
right.
Yeah.
And what it appears to be was there was kind of only like a one lane thing, and the labels that was signing these artists or supporting them, they were just supporting that kind of music alone, only one kind of music, one kind of sound. And for the most part, a lot of people are not interested anymore into that. Like it's kind of like burning itself out.
Yeah.
And if in order for that to survive, you got to bring something new and fresh to the table, and that's with anything. And we're not getting that, or we're not getting enough of it, or we not the labels are not promoting it. I'm not going to say it's not out there. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say the labels are not promoting it. They're not standing behind it.
It's crazy because I at first I thought to myself, I said, yeah, there's not enough diversity. Well, there's diversity, but not enough different music, I guess, like you would say.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think back at it in retrospect, right, during the time of the Foxy, Kim,
Mm-hmm.
then you had Lauryn Hill in that mix, and then Eve, Missy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that kind of makes the mix different.
Yeah, even with
right?
the fellas, you had a Buster, you had a Tribe, you had a Nas, you had a Mob, you had an MOP, which is totally different. There's nothing like that. You had just such a variety of different kinds of music. So whatever you felt like listening to, if you wanted some gangster music, you had your gangster music. If you felt like, I don't want to listen to gangster music today, but I want to listen to some of the mellow, cool joint, you had that. You had your records that were dropping jewels, information. You had such a large smorgasbord of things, and the labels were pushing each one of them.
Yeah. Everybody was trying to get their little market share in the whole thing.
So you were able to turn on the radio and hear a Mos Def. You were able to turn on the radio and hear a Talib Kweli, a Mobb Deep, a MOP, a Lauryn Hill. You were able to hear all of those things.
Now, not so much.
Now
because one song has to blend into the next.
Yeah,
that's how they got it set up. Like one song has to blend in to the next song, and it's just like algorithmically, it all has to match up, and it just creates one uniform sound, and everybody was just kind of on the same wave, like But I'm kind of I feel like in order for everything to move forward, something has to give. Something has to give. Like okay, you had your shot.
Yeah, you gotta kind of reinvent. You can't really necessarily put out the exact same thing. You gotta kind of like take it up a notch. There's some artists coming out right now. They're coming back around now, and they're trying to figure out how they're gonna catch that heat. Cardi got a new record out, and she's trying to figure it out. You got a lot of people trying to come back out, and you got to wait and see if those records are gonna do what it needs to do to get the attention.
I saw some commentary from DJ Akademiks on the Cardi record, and it wasn't really, he was kind of saying like it was just, you got to put an album out. You can't keep trying to, you can't keep you're trying to see what you're trying to do with it, and we're trying to see if she can. It's like they want everybody to reproduce, that that initial,
yeah.
You can never have that.
Yeah, lightning ain't gonna strike like twice.
Yeah, it's not like that.
It's very difficult, man. And it's scary for an artist to try and recreate something that's happened. Like, it's challenging.
The question is though, Mike, is it really challenging, or is it because an artist like Cardi is she kind of has a cult like following, bro? So I would ask, is she curating her audience accurately? Is the people that support her, are they creating the mechanism to really weaponize the audience to drive and sway public opinion? Like, that's my issue. It's like, if you guys are just taking a record and putting a record out and expecting it to hit this type of fanfare after her debut, how old is her debut now? It's almost 5 years.
5? I'm not even sure. I can't even. It's been 5 years.
It's definitely pre-pandemic.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, in a nutshell, I'm asking, like, where's the cultivation of the audience? Is that where, like, the same way Nicki get the support that she get from her boss? Mm-hmm. Like, where's the cultivation of the audience? You guys are not supposed to be over here sweating bullets on her release. Y'all supposed to have an audience that's going to come for Cardi B, whether she fought on the record or whatever the hell she does. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's supposed to, at least for your sophomore release. And then after that, of course, you can kind of drift a little bit, but there's supposed to be a built-in audience for this thing, man. It ain't supposed to be we trying to find what work and all of that. Like, I don't understand that. It's not really, that really makes sense to me right now.
Well, that comes down to what type of fans do you have? Do you have the true diehard fans, or do you have one of those fans that's just fickle by night, and they're not, they like a record, versus the actual artist, And the funny thing is that, numbers ain't gonna tell you that. Numbers are not gonna give you details unless you're really like looking for it. You're really like asking those questions. You get a million streams. Who are these people? Do they like you, or do they just like the record? Did they stream the record because they heard it somewhere before and they saw, like, there's no story, so you have no idea how you got the million streams in the first place. You don't have an idea of who are these fans at all. So the question is, are they real fans, or are they just fly by night fans? You don't know.
But that's my problem.
So here you are trying to reproduce something, and the fans from the first record that they heard, maybe half of them were just, I like that record.
Right.
I like that record. I don't know about her, and this is with any artist. I don't know anything about her, but I like that record. Like when the Bodak record came out, that was a dope record.
Yeah.
Like it went past. I think the record was actually bigger than her. Like the record, people like that record. So then this time around, it's like there's people who want to hear, I need a record. I want to hear a record. They don't care about the particular artist. And it could be 500,000 people that feel that way, that I want to hear a record. I don't care who you are. I want a hot record.
I think she's bigger than it all, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. I really do. I think she's bigger than. I think she's big. I think as an artist, I think she's bigger than all of that. I think that if there's the right, again, not the right infrastructure here. It's not. It's like to me, it's not the right situation here. Somebody like her is supposed to have the largest database of fans. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And we're supposed to be able to create some events, create some personalized merch, some
Right.
personalized shows, etc.
Experiences. Yeah.
Right. There is something that we're supposed to be able to use to create back the fanfare of yesteryear. But I don't see that being like we're dependent on this music situation where listen, that's from 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, right? Bodak is 5 years old, right? Like, do we expect those same people to come back and have the same fanfare again if we haven't cultivated that?
That's true.
It's like we have too many options, and there's too much things that's going on, and people got a lot of things going on, and I just think that if we're not working toward really getting the attention of the fans, like we're not going to get it. So I think to Nikki's credit, she's been able to cultivate the audience.
Yeah.
Keep her barbs involved, keep them entertained. And the other thing that doesn't help a lot of these artists now is that I'm noticing that they're at war with the streamers.
Oh,
right.
Doesn't make any sense.
They're at odds with the streamers. I'm seeing I think Meek Mill got a new project out, right?
Yeah.
We're not hearing nothing about it, but he's at war with one of the biggest streamers in the world right now, DJ Akademiks. And
again,
you can't. I don't understand why these guys don't understand it. Like, listen, the street guy bravado situation, that's over with, bro. Like, you have to really look at who's running this situation in terms of the streaming community and all of that. You trying to threaten these guys and all of that.
Yeah, you can't bully. Yeah, that bullying stuff ain't.
That's over with, bro.
Yeah.
Nobody don't respect that anymore. And then the reality of it is that these guys they're going to law enforcement if something happened to them.
Yeah. Proud of
you know that, and I know that.
Proud of it too.
Yeah. It's a badge of honor to say I took you down. Yep. So I don't even there's a lose-lose. You threaten them publicly and something happens, you put yourself under the microscope for another RICO situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we really doing here? So, some of the stuff that I'm seeing going back and forth between those two, you don't even add up. But, Act got the battery in his back. Because he know you can't do nothing. He know you on parole. He know you can't do nothing. He knows it. He's daring you. Like, step outside. I dare you. Do anything that's menacing, anything. I dare you. Like, you can't do nothing, bro. You're handcuffed. Like, literally, like, you're a handcuff. Like, if you step out of line, you're going back into a Philadelphia prison, bro.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Crazy. And he's betting on it. He's betting that you so silly that you're gonna crash out to prove some sort of point.
Man,
somebody got to step up and take that Twitter from you, bro, and to say, "Hey, man, you ain't gonna win this one." And you're not gonna win this one because you don't got no platform. See how you notice that again? We keep saying that these guys don't got no platform. You guys don't got a platform. If your Twitter or if your Instagram gets deactivated, how you communicate with your fans, bro?
Word. Yeah. Especially if you don't have your own thing set up on the side to communicate with them.
How you communicating with your fans, bro?
See, that goes back to another one of our podcasts when we talked about relying solely on social media. If those things go down, or if it's taken from you, you're a wash.
He about to crash out on the platform because some of the stuff gonna come across as hate speech because they got him tied up into the whole Diddy thing again. We got to talk about that. I don't even know how we missed that. Like, that happened this week with the new it's the new Diddy lawsuit, which is just nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just crazy with the pictures and the redactions. Like, I've seen this thing and I'm like, this is just, but we said this was going to happen once he settled on the first one.
We said that.
So once you settle, but I feel, and I think you and I said that too, that this is just a play by the lawyers to milk you dry, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it's a unfortunate situation. They smell blood in the water, and
His
that was it.
attorney set him up.
That's what it feel like.
If
Because that doesn't make.
if his attorneys didn't let the first lawsuit go public,
Oh my God!
he would not be here.
What
a horrible set of legal counsel to tell those folks a game of chicken. Basically, he did. He played a game of chicken.
You did that, and then still turned around and paid in front of the world. In front of the world.
Come on, bro.
So now everybody's gonna be, ready to eat.
The other girl said she's filing one too. The one that we said, the one that said that she had the one that was talking about the Tiffany Red girl. I was talking about how she was being left off of the credit. She said she's trying to sue Diddy too. She said she got a bunch of records with Cassie that ain't coming out because of the the whole lawsuit, sexual allegation situation. So she's basically suing him for some sort of work interference.
Wow.
You could do that?
I mean, these laws will find a way to flip it.
I don't know the semantics of her lawsuit. I just seen a live with her, and she was saying how she put all this work into Cassie. She got all these records, and they're not going to come out because of what was going on. And now she's blaming Diddy for that, and I guess because now she's she can't get any income. But those records to me, they were never going to come out.
I don't know. I mean, but hold on. But look,
that, and I know that. Them shits was never coming out.
That's some of the risk.
Yeah, man. Them shits was never coming out.
Yeah, like we got tons of
hundreds of records.
We got unreleased records we sitting on. We got Max B records. We got Raekwon records. We got records. Like
we got records. I'm just ain't coming out.
Sometimes, yeah. Well, maybe.
but I'm like, I mean, in a general sense, it's like, who is here to sue? Like only in this world of delusion that you could sue somebody for, a record not coming out. And, but again, Diddy got whoever's Diddy lawyers, man, these guys are geniuses, bro. Like, because they're making you think that they're defending you, and they set you up for non-stop legal fees. That's really what it is. It's basically, I got a lawyer on retainer now for the next 15 minutes.
You got a subscription.
Yeah, you got a Netflix lawyer.
Oh,
this lawyer's on subscription. You got to keep this guy paid
every month.
Because everybody's coming now. Pause. But it's crazy. Like it's what I'm seeing here. I'm like, and the lawsuit is crazy. The lawsuit name a few names, it redact a few things. So I'm not really trying to get into it.
This new lawsuit is a producer, right? He's a producer, or
he's an artist and producer, it seems.
Or does he? Like I wasn't clear on exactly what he was.
He was a producer.
Or was he a video person? Was he a video person following Diddy? Like,
apparently so, because he says he's a producer, and he said he's basically accusing him of the sexual assault. This is as per the Los Angeles Times, and I don't know, bro. Sexual assault, illicit behavior.
Do you think Usher's gonna say anything?
No, absolutely not. Usher just really, if you think about it, Usher had the whole other scandal with the big girl situation, if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I know people are gonna find offensive. I said it that. But remember when they were talking about this and the STDs allegedly and all of that stuff? He just kind of just went away.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume that there's some sort of settlement that occurred to kind of get that to go away. He just came off of a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
He just came off of a big Vegas residency.
Mm-hmm.
He has a world tour set up.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think he is going to jeopardize that bag.
He better not.
I don't see him doing it, especially after the resurgence that he's had in the last year.
Yeah, he better just keep his mouth shut.
Nothing you can do here. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing you can do here. The reason why a lot of this again has come home to roost is because, one, if he did it, that's the first problem.
Mm-hmm.
The second problem is if there was an issue with what happened,
Mm-hmm.
he was supposed to deal with that behind closed doors, because apparently that's what made her, that's what helped Cassie.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie wanted the settlement. She got the settlement. It's over with.
Right.
So if that was the case, you could have did that before everything came out. You could have probably handled it for a whole lot less.
Whole lot less, yep.
That's
Wow.
it. If that's what it was all about from the get go, just handle it and let it be done with. And then now
not everybody wants a piece.
I would tell them to file bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's nothing. once I do a public bankruptcy,
mm-hmm.
everybody knows there's nothing here for you to get.
So then, does that mean that's it? So is this the end of?
Yeah, isn't everything in his mother's name anyway? File for bankruptcy. It might be publicly humiliating in that case, but listen, we have to tell folks that the shop is closed. There's no more money here,
right?
And we're not going to sit here and fight endless lawsuits, and in millions and millions and millions of dollars in legal fees. People act like that can't make you broke. Of course, it can make you broke when you're in a situation where his businesses can't earn because he's being removed from these businesses.
Yeah.
So, you're putting a person in a situation where there's going to be almost no income. And you can't just be out here spending hundreds of millions of dollars in lawsuits. Like, no, you can't do that.
So right now, Meek Mill's image is taking a pretty big hit. Where do you think he ends in all of this? How is his music?
You tell me what your thought is on Meek Mill, bro. Like, I'm gonna tell you what my thought is on Meek Mill, but I want you to tell me what your thought is on Meek Mill and tell me where it went wrong.
My opinion, I think he should have stayed with the Rick Ross machine.
He tried to go back. You see, that didn't work.
But it's already done and gone. I think he should have stayed over there. I think at that time they were doing better music. I don't know. I think it just seemed to have kind of just fizzled out.
Did he evolve as an artist?
I was gonna say that next though. He's doing okay now. We're basically blaming him the same way we was blaming Drake.
Blaming Drake for what?
Because Drake was making young people music only.
I don't say that. I think Drake has enough. I think Drake has enough latitude in his music. And you may say, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
He is able to create thought-provoking music. He's able to do that, and he's done that.
So Meek Mill isn't?
I'm not saying he hasn't. I think he has. Listen, this guy is very, very skilled. He was supposed to be the next guy.
Right? You're talking about who? Meek?
Meek is supposed to be on the top of that Mount Rushmore for the way that this guy knows how to rap.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about that, right? Mm-hmm. This guy knows how to rap. I don't want people to take my words and say that this guy can't rap. That is a lie from hell. You go to hell with that. He can rap.
He can rap. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The issue that I see, the first thing is that it's just too much public crashing out. The Nicki crash out. The public feud with Drake crash out. It's just too much.
The thing with Akademiks.
Too much. Right? If we can't handle social, somebody on your team got to take it from you. Somebody got to tell you stay off social and we manage it. Somebody got to tell you. Take him off social.
So do you think it's just that?
Yeah, because I think every time he crashes out on social, then it impacts his music. You know what I'm saying? Like it removes. Let me ask you a question. If a video came out tomorrow, 50 Cent getting beat up by a little guy, what does that do for his? What does that do for the perceived value of all of his music?
Goddamn! Like
you'll stop playing that shit.
You be like, wait.
You be like, no, like this is the guy that I loved, and this was the gangster. What up, cuz? Right?
Yeah.
You would say this was a wash. This was like, I'm not listening to this shit no more. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what happened. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what'll happen to you. It's like once you kind of like listen, man, this is
an image-driven.
Thank you. This is an image-driven situation. So you are supposed to be curating everything that's coming out.
Yep.
Like we're not supposed to be taking. Somebody got to come to you and say, "Hey, man, that picture ain't right there."
Right.
Or this right here is not a good look.
Yeah.
Full video in this right here. This is where is that person? You know what I'm saying? Like that say, "Hey, yo, you look crazy right now, bro."
Yeah. Don't do this.
Don't do that shit. You looking mad soft. You looking like who's the person that's gonna tell you that? Now we get it if you playing, we get it. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you're trying to show your personality. But in this business, it's like, yo, it's a fine line between being comedic and still being able to keep that edge.
Right.
50 know how to do it real good. Some of these other guys can't do it. Like, yo, you gotta pick a side, bro, and stay with it. You know, J. Cole, you ain't got these problems. Drake, you don't got these problems. He controls it.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. But he, like you said, he does have some latitude though, because even if you see him on some corny stuff, it's just like sometimes he does it purposely.
Because he's an actor and he knows how to.
Right.
But I also believe that Meek has that same ability. I believe he has that ability. I just think that who is he listening to? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? This guy is too talented to wash out like this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He is. He's too talented for these folks to let him do that like that. It's very, very
So let me ask you this,
disappointing.
Because you said something that was pretty key. You know, like has music evolved? You know, and it's interesting as an artist that's trying to stay relevant in the business. You know, you have a real fine line that you gotta kind of balance. You want to make sure that you can appease your core audience and you could grow with your core audience, but you also want to make sure that you could catch some new young fans too. You know, and if you go too far to one side, you could totally alienate your core fan base. And I think Meek has done has went really far to left to focus on the young. And I'm not sure if he had made enough, enough right.
I agree with that.
You know, everything you hear is young bull, this young, my young and my young this, that, and the third, and it's just like, okay, where are the records? Where's the conceptual records? Where's the adult records? Where's the, where's the meat and potatoes records?
Do you think because he surrounded himself with a lot of younger artists that he felt that he didn't have to rap the way that he would have needed to rap?
I think,
or maybe he didn't rap to his potential.
Okay.
Or he didn't create. Let me not say he didn't rap to his potential. Maybe he didn't construct songs with the content that he needed to, that was relevant to his age, his evolution. But it was like so much focused on, like you said, the younger generation to hit. Like I think Drake is very good at making sure that when he wants a younger sound, he always employs, a feature to do that, right? He'll
Or he
do a
goes and do it on
featured
their record, or
project,
just do it on their record.
yeah, to maintain that kind of. And Jay did that too, right? Jay would always, connect himself with somebody who was popping to make sure that he was still in the mix. And then when it came back for your projects had to be where your fan base was, right? Because now he's in his late 30s, right? Am I tripping by saying that?
I think it's late 30s. Yeah. You gonna Google it real quick?
I want to make sure he's 36, right?
Yeah.
So he late 30s. That music gotta evolve, bro. That music can't be, Bentley, Rolly. Like, like we know that he has it in him. When we talked about, albums like Wins and Losses, we know he got it in him.
Right.
To rap about real shit, Like, I know he got it in him. So it's like, just stay that course.
But you know what? You know what, man? I think this is like a conversation that all artists got to have with themselves, man. Like growing pains. Like when you're putting out a project, like, okay, where I'm at now and what kind of music do I want to put out? And you got to take a good look in the mirror and see where you are in life. And this whole it's a young man's game. Like I think we gotta get out of that mentality, because what happens is you start dumbing yourself down for that, and that's not what your fans may necessarily want to hear from you. They want to hear growth. They want to hear your age, because they're that age too. And too many people are trying to, cater to 16-year-olds. Like, dog, you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s.
Yeah.
Some of these fans are in their 50s. We should not be listening to 16-year-old raps.
Yeah.
Like, let's be for real.
Let's be for real about it.
Like, you leave that to them. And
It's funny because in his case, in his age group, he could, in his skill set, right? Because I would believe that Drake and Cole is around the same age. These guys should wrap up, meaning they should rap upward, right? They should be looking to find their version of today's Illmatic, right?
And yeah. And then when you wrap up, then the ones they follow suit.
They're gonna follow suit, because also the ones that are up are also the ones that control media.
Right.
Some folks ain't really looking at it like that. They're thinking that it's all controlled by some young folks, and that's not necessarily the case. You still got folks that are still in legacy media and can still press buttons on certain things.
Yeah, I mean, you do still have your young, of course. You do have your young, streamers. You have that, but for the most part,
they're not consuming the music like that, bro.
That's what exactly.
They're not.
So you're changing how you do music and aiming for people who don't really fuck with you to begin with.
Right. They're playing the video game, bro. They're not really, you know what I'm saying? They ain't on it like that, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they fuck with it, but they're not really fucking with it. And then what's happening is that when you see how the rappers are treating the streamers, and I don't know if you've ever seen that clip of Aiden Ross that was rocking with Playboy Cardi, and he said he basically had the money for him. He came trying to take the money and leave, and all this type of weird shit going on. Like, these guys don't even got common respect for the streamers that got millions. It's getting more money than they ever could get. And these guys don't got no respect for them. The rappers is treating them like shit. So I think the streamers and all those people that's in that generation is revolting against the rappers. I ain't gonna hold you. That's what it feel like to me. I feel like, oh, y'all gonna treat these guys like you can't diss on these guys.
Word.
You can't do it. Like, you can't do it. It's like career suicide.
For real.
You can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see that whole situation with Offset when he went to go see Casanana, and he didn't get the co-sign from Casanana, so he kind of, ain't really dealing with him like that. And you see what happens with that release. That release didn't go nowhere. Like that's what you're dealing with. If the streamer's not co-signing it, you better get some feedback. And you may need to go back into the lab. If you're going to go that route, meaning if you're going that route where you're trying to get into the streamers world, then you're gonna have to follow what these folks trends are talking about. But you chasing the trend.
Yeah, but then you sound silly, man. You sound silly as a 30 plus, 40 plus chasing a 16-year-old
Yep.
vision. Like
Yep.
that shit just it don't look good. You look like the old guy at the club.
Yep.
You know
I
what
agree
I'm
with
saying?
that too.
And then the young boys are looking at you like he
What you
here.
doing here?
You hear the beat is knocking, but we don't really fuck with you. But you here, so we just here too. But you know,
And I you know what? You know when I realized the disparity of when there was that conversation of when Killer Mike won, and then they were talking about Travis Scott, and these are two different.
Yeah.
And for the guys that would come on and would say, I know why people like it, but we don't want to hear all those lyrics. Like that was
look,
like the main connotation. Like we don't fuck with all those lyrics.
They don't want bars.
No.
And that's why that has stunted Meek Mill, I think. Like he's a bar rapper. He raps. He give you them bars. And a lot of these artists today, they're like, yo, we don't do bars. We don't wanna they don't wanna
You don't want to rap on this shit like that. Like,
yeah, man.
Like,
and you be like, they don't want to think. It's too many words. Like they got memes all over the place for old school rappers per se, where it just sounds like too many big words.
It's crazy.
They don't want to hear it. They want melodies, and they want bop. You know what I mean? A recitable words for the most part.
I can't. Ain't nothing I can really say about it, man. I'm just watching it now. I just hope my man don't crash out, cause I'm a fan, man. I really feel like And I remember when that Dreams and Nightmares came out, and that was probably during one of the worst winter storms we had in the Northeast, and it really impacted the way his sales was going to take off. And he couldn't do some promo, and people couldn't really get out to his his first album and all of that. And it's so long ago, but to watch him, like you remember that hunger on that young man when he was.
I would like for him
coming out.
I would like for him to get with someone like a No ID. And
really craft the classic.
And see,
really craft the classic.
Yeah, someone like him who's an OG in production and really like crafting something special. And getting some real like, and I always say this, some real like substance. Like we already know the Bentleys and this and that and the third, and that's cool. But I think at some point you gotta step up your content. There's some things that should be age appropriate, man, in my opinion.
Hey man, say less on that, man. You know what I'm saying? I think we like I said, I hope men don't crash out, man. That's the main thing that I see, because him on Twitter right now is don't look good, man.
Yeah,
crazy right now.
Take his Twitter, man, off, man, and just the same way how Kanye will flip out and somebody will finally at the end of the day just grab his phone or whatever, like
I think what Kanye's problems are they're a lot more intricate than he's letting on.
Yeah.
They said that there's a lot of lawsuits in the background. He doesn't own the IP, can't control the pricing. He doesn't, and a lot. I asked myself, like, how did all of these things occur? Like, where was your legal team in making sure that you had some control here? You know what I mean?
But here we go with the legal team again. It's probably the same team as it's probably Diddy's team. You know what I mean? It's probably they all together.
They all the same gang, man.
Yeah, the same gang, man. They just call each other up like, yo, I'm gonna advise him not to do this. You advise him not to do that. And we keep this money train going. You be in
Mm.
lawsuits until they freaking old and gray.
Oh, that is some real shit, man.
Yo, man,
When you say it like that, but it's like, you don't want to believe that.
yo,
You
this
don't
whole
want
thing
to
is a
believe
hoax.
that. You want to feel like, you're, because I know a lot of people out here going to be like, I got great relationships with my counsel and you get bloom, bloom, bloom. But sometimes it just feels like a real big hustle.
Yeah, and it's not all counsel, but you know, it
I said,
easily can be.
sometimes it be feeling like it's a big hustle. And like, it be
Yeah,
feeling like that. Like, we're
come
gonna
on.
leave that out. We're gonna leave a little space for you over here, and we're not gonna talk to them about this, and we're gonna, you
Same thing.
know,
Same thing with accountants, man. You gotta be careful, man. You
it's
gotta be
crazy.
you gotta be checking your stuff, man. You gotta be, and it just bugs me out, man. A lot of people don't like to read, man. Like, even when we post some things, folks don't want to read. Like, yo, read it. Read the book. It's telling
Read
you
the
how to
read the article.
read the article. It's telling you how to do it, how to protect yourself, how to do this, how to do that. Just read it. And folks
And
is like,
and I'm glad you said something about that because I got a little pet peeve, man. Like like people we posting information and we putting stuff out there, we giving it away for free, and then people would take time out of their day to go into the comments to tell people that it's not free,
huh?
huh? Like that doesn't make sense to me.
That's
Like it's
not.
free, bro, but it's like the trolling aspect of it
Oh,
is so like I never would have thought we would experience something where people would be trolling in such a way that they would want to block other people's access to information.
wow.
I would never have thought I'd see that, but I see it. I see that. I see these people jumping in the comments, trying to say, "Oh, you don't need that." How do you know? Do you have it?
And it be people who don't know anything about anything,
Anything?
have no skin in the game at all. Never even put out a record. Oh,
Yeah, but if you leave it up to if you leave it up to these folks, But I think sometimes they be doing that just to see if you're gonna get
a reaction.
a reaction to see if you'll respond or something to that
Mhm.
effect. You know what I mean? And I understand there's some sort of troll into it, but it's just really really weird to watch sometimes.
You gotta, man. Folks gotta read. Folks gotta read, and you can't leave anything to anybody else. You not in this. You can't leave everything to your attorney solely. You got to check the paperwork, look over it, make sure, and if you got a partner to kind of just, run things by with, even better, you
Yeah,
know, you know, um, accountants, the whole thing. Like, this game is, as we get older in this game, we realize how crooked and dishonest this game is. Like, even if you have contracts with people, they will still do things regardless. Like, you would think that because you have a contract, it automatically kind of sets everybody to, okay, I, I got to do this, I got to do that. No, you could still be in a contract and still be done wrong. You could sign a bad contract, or you can have a good contract, and people are not upholding their part of the deal, and you think they are. They're not paying you on time, or they're not paying you the right amount, or and you got to do audits, and like it's crazy. And there's another thing that I want to talk about, Jug. I know we kind of round up the time, but there's this whole big thing about artists, independent artists, not wanting to split 50-50 with producers.
I seen that. But go ahead.
Like, oh, if I pay a producer for the beat, that's all the money he's making. That's it. He don't get no publishing. He don't get that. Like, what? Like, and there's another one coming out behind that. That engineers are requesting publishing as well now, and co-production credits.
What you think
So
about that?
if an engineer is co-producing If they're co-producing, if they're doing this here track, you're with them as a producer, or they coming up with ideas and they doing this. Hey, how about this? Let's do this. Let's flip this. Let's flip that. They're co-producing, and you gotta talk to them and say, hey, let's have this conversation. Yo, I just did this, I did that. We did. Let's work something out. So maybe they should be entitled to something. But as a producer, you gotta agree to it. You gotta sit with the engineer and say, okay, let's do this. Like, I like your idea. Let's do this. They can't come into your record and just automatically start doing something and expect something. I think the engineer needs the producer's permission.
That is where I would say because I feel that engineers in a lot of cases are the superheroes.
Yep.
The engineers are responsible for taking all of this mess,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes making it sound all together, right? And this is after the producers sequencing, after the producers, programming, getting all of that stuff together, making sure the vocal performances is right and everything. But there are still some engineers that we have worked with in our past that were instrumental in getting the record to that over the hump, if you might say. And if we're able to do that together and we agree on it and his contribution is significant, I feel that there should be something that should be worked out for engineers. Only to me, it's only right. A contribution is a contribution. If a person is in the writing room and they contribute, they're going to get a writer's credit.
Right.
Point blank, period. Why the engineers are left out of it, I'm not so much. I don't know why. But to your point, it should also be you shouldn't be able to just insert yourself on my record.
Right.
Right. If we don't want your feedback or if we don't want what you're doing on it,
yeah,
you shouldn't have that situation where they send it to you to mix and then you redo everything and now you want producer credit.
Right. Now you pay to make the vocal sound how it fall, and you need to sit in the mix a certain way.
Yeah.
And you need to put the frequencies and do all of this and that. You need an engineer. As far as changing my beat, doing this, resequencing, flipping this, flipping that, doing this, doing that. If we didn't agree to that, then you can't just insert yourself in and then expect that you're getting this and that and the third.
And what I would tell engineers is to tread very lightly on that, because for back in the days, for myself and for yourself, before we were able to produce, we needed to engineer. So we're not removed from the skill of doing it. We just prefer not to do it.
Right.
But it's not that we can't. I'm saying that it's not that we can't mix it. It's not that we can't do it. It's just we choose not to do that. We choose to, take our time and scale our time effectively. But if you guys are going to create a situation where you're going to try to crash in on the revenue stream, the producers will ice you out.
Yeah. Not to mention we have AI. AI knocking on the door.
Yeah, do not sit here and think that producers can't engineer and mix. Yeah. That's bullshit. A lot of us can do it. You know what I'm saying? So
and AI is around the corner.
Yeah, you already know. You know what I'm saying? So the AI is already mixing and mastering. So
already mixing and mastering. So
fuck around if you want. Fuck around, find out.
And as far as the independent artists saying that producers shouldn't get any publishing if they're paying for a beat, these guys really don't understand. And I had a back and forth with someone the other day. I was like, you guys really don't understand how the business works. As a producer, do I get money off of when you're going to go and do a performance? No, don't. When our beat helps you get hot, and now you got people calling you for all of these different deals. Whether it's a movie deal, whether it's some sponsorship, whether it's a feature, whatever. Do we get a cut of that? No, that's all you. And I have to explain that to somebody. I was like, yo, you get all of that. So I don't even understand where you think that you're entitled to all of the producers publishing.
It's just again a lack of respect for producers
and ignorance.
and what I want to do again, and what we've been talking about, is we have to create the platform and we have to control the narrative of letting people understand and respect what the fuck we're doing, right? You don't get a Thriller without a Quincy Jones, bro. You don't get a Doggy Style without Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying? You don't get these albums without producers, competent producers, right? So I this nonsense of these guys acting as if, you know, it's all the artists and nobody else did anything. That's a bunch of bullshit, and we're about to expose that. And when we start bringing on the next set of guests, and when we start letting you know, when they start telling you what they did on whose record, and people start feeling like, oh, I thought, no, it's a lot of us behind your favorite record that are basically, you know, covered from any of the exposure, because, you know, we giving all the artists the light. The artist is the front person, but there's a team behind this that makes this engine work. And more of us have to start standing up and start saying, listen, we're not going for that shit. And artists like that should be put on a list and should be canceled like anybody else.
Yeah.
And any producer out there should, like, no, this artist should not get any beats from you at all. Period. Like, if they can't respect it to the point where, hey, we are collaborating on a song. You're writing the lyrics, we're writing the track, we're putting it together. What the fuck you mean we're not going to share the income? It's the dumbest shit.
It's the dumbest shit.
You know what I'm saying? It's the dumbest shit. It's like, what are your lyrics without the beat, and vice versa? Like, well, you know what I'm saying? In our case, at least we could say, hey, we could take these beats and we could still run it in a movie or something like that. Good luck with doing that with your lyrics.
Yeah.
We could still run our shit into TV or something like that, behind a soundtrack, behind a commercial, whatever. We don't need your lyrics for that.
Absolutely.
You know? So, you know, you guys are playing the real stupid game, you know, and I just think that more producers like ourselves have to come out and start saying some shit. Like, come on, man, get out of here with that dumb shit. That's dumb shit that y'all talking about. It shows that y'all are immature, and it shows that you're not going to have any longevity. We're going to still be here, bro. That's what these guys don't realize. Like, we still here. Premier and them is still here. If Pharrell want to make a record tomorrow, he's still here. Timbaland and them is still here.
Twist is still making
They still here. Dre is still here 20, 30 years later. Scott Storch, they still here. Metro and these guys are going to be here, man. You know what I'm saying? Southside, Mike Will, they're going to be here.
Respect the producer,
15 years later.
Respect the producer, man. It's not, you know, this
when your favorite artists fizzle out, the producers are still going to be here bringing on another wave. Trust.
Yep.
It's like, come on, man. Like, the guy, there's no respect, man. I'm sick of that shit.
Yeah.
I really am. I'm sick of that shit. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of these guys acting as if, you know, they're the only one that come out of a trench. I'm sick of these guys as if, you know, all we do is sit behind a computer and, you know, we're Poindexters and we, you know, I'm sick of this shit.
Some of these huge albums were created after the artists already went home or had already went to the club partying, and the producer's still there, fixing, tweaking, changing sounds, fixing this, that, and the third. Like,
it's because we're not telling the truth. If we tell the truth,
producer be the last one to get to go home. The last one to get to go home and get some shut eye. Right? While you out there partying and having a good time, is the producer that's there fixing that beat, making sure it's right, working on your next beat.
Yeah.
Trying to craft it right so that it could hit right. Listening and fixing it and going back and taking your vocals and doing this to it to make sure that it sits right. That's what real producers are doing. And have some respect for the producer, man. We're going to talk more about this on our next podcast.
Yeah, but before we get out of here, I'm just got to play a message from our sponsor. This episode of the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast is brought to you by our own ebooks, The Songwriter's Guide to Song Registration, The Musician's Guide to Music Copyrights, The Musician's Guide to Music Publishing, and The Ultimate Guide to Forming Your Own Music LLC. All of these books are really essential for artists, producers, musicians to really learn how to navigate the music industry and how to really make a living off of your art. So just make sure you go pick those up. Those are available at arkatechbeats.com. We're going to put a link in the description, and thank you guys for supporting. Any parting words for our folks out here?
Yeah, man.
We
talked about a lot of different things. When you're being creative, man, when you're making some music, man, make some. Stop trying to make records for somebody else.
You gotta elaborate on that, because folks are gonna say, "Hey, what about the customer?"
Make sure that the records that you're making, man, that you like it, like you enjoy it. That it's for you also. Like you're not selling your soul out to create some music that has nothing to do with you, that you know nothing about, that you got to try and figure out. Make records that talk to you, that define you. If you're a 40-year-old, make some records, some hot records that and talk about some things that a 40-year-old is going through, and some 30-year-olds and 20-year-olds need to look out for, or things of that nature. Like, be very like, just be your age, man, in a sense, but be hot, be dope at it. When they say this is a young man's game, that's bullshit. It's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Make hot records, man. It don't matter how old you are. Make hot records. If you're 20,
I agree with that, man.
If you're 20, make a hot record from a 20-year-old. If you're 30, make a hot record for a 30-year-old. If you're 40, 50, make a hot record for the age. And what happens is the young generation, the 20-year-olds, will see what the 30-year-olds make. Like, that's something to reach for. And that's how you push this culture forward.
That's real. Make sure y'all following us everything Arkatech Beats. If you haven't been into the website, make sure you're doing there. If you're not on our newsletter, make sure you're jumping on our newsletter. We are definitely sending out tips on how to navigate the music industry every week.
Read it.
Yeah, get in
on it.
5-minute
read. Read it, please.
We're definitely going to be doing that. And if you haven't checked out some of the past episodes, we had some real special guests on. We got some new special guests coming. So be on the lookout for that. But until next time, folks.
Peace.
Peace, y'all. Be safe out there.
Arkatech